Hello friends, Namaskar. This is Manoj Joshi. Welcome you all to our WellnessByAllMeans Forum. So today we have a wonderful guest. Let me just speak a few things about her. Her name is Nivedita Nita Ganapathi. She is a personal coach, spiritual seeker and a teacher. She is eminently qualified with a master's degree in law from Harvard University and a master's in high-tech law from Santa Clara University, following which she has license to practice law in New York, California and India. However, she gave up a lucrative law practice to follow her calling to become a motivational speaker and a personal coach. Nivedita draws upon her experience in a wide range of healing modalities, sacred mysteries, spiritual truths to empower people by expanding their awareness. She is passionate about learning the symbolism behind ancient Hindu mythology and Vedic rituals and teachings, its relevance in the modern context. She holds a lot of workshops in different parts of the country. I have attended a couple of them, and we work together in many projects to build awareness about spirituality, about health, about awareness of self-awareness, or mindfulness and conscious leadership. So today is a great opportunity for me to have a friendly interaction with her and to find out how together this conversation can help some of you as you're listening to this. Thank you very much. So welcome Nivedita. Nita, I call you. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning. It's wonderful to resume our conversations. Like you said, we have been doing this for many years together, and it's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Great. I was just thinking about it, like all these things that we do, basically to create some positive awareness, right? But if you look at some of the concepts like human greed, for example, like not just personal greed, but in a collective way, there's so many things that are happening that is beyond our consciousness. And we are not actually conscious about why we're doing it. Maybe some evil force is just dragging us to do, like look at the contamination of the food that we are eating, look at the environment, look at everything that we're doing. It's not human, right? Sometimes we feel like, the greed has outnumbered or greed has taken over. Like it is just like a evil spirit that has taken over. We call it Kali Yuga or karma or whatever it may be. So where is that conscience? Why we are failing to draw upon a line of balance, like where we should do something that we should do for health, awareness, for general well-being of our humanity. But somehow or other we fail to do that for over a period of time. So what do you think, how we can contain our greed and then try to be a little bit more saner?
Well, the way I look at it, Manoj, is that everything we do is, everything that we experience, the reality is what we create. Right. And instead of trying to look at this, the worldwide greed and problems, it feels overwhelming and we say there's nothing we can do, without realizing that we have come to this stage because moment to moment we avoided taking responsibility. Every time you see something or do something that seems so small that it doesn't make a difference, a small lie, a small cheating, a small, taking advantage of somebody, or when maybe you didn't do it, somebody else did it, but you look the other way. At that point, you don't see it happening. So you say, oh, thank God, nothing happened. But you don't realize that everybody has been doing that, and collectively we've been building up this negative energy, and it has come to fruition. And unless we take back that power, my approach to life is I cannot change anything outside of myself, but I can definitely spend some time to understand where I am missing the big picture and contributing to this. And it's like a weight loss, weight gain or any kind of disease, diabetes. When you eat sugar the first day, it doesn't happen. You eat sugar for a month, it doesn't happen. Eat sugar for 10 years, then suddenly there's this diabetes. You can't say, how do I defeat diabetes right now, right here? But you go back and say, what are the things that I did that contributed to this? And then slowly, taking back your power by bringing awareness to where you have contributed to this situation or environment or breakdown of, cosmic harmony. Mm-hmm. So I think it's better to take small steps so that people don't get overwhelmed. And it starts with bringing mindfulness to your living.
Right. I think that is what exactly I was thinking about. For example, we are always talking about transformation, right? So there are two other elements that I will think about. Like one is the awareness and one is the action. Mm-hmm. And there has been always, if you notice, like there is a big gap between the action and awareness. So that's why the transformation doesn't really happen the way that we want it, because maybe our expectation is like, okay, I want to do it right away, but I don't have the patience to do it slowly, one step at a time. But somehow or other, how do you really bridge the gap between the action and awareness? What kind of practice, what kind of rituals, what do we need to do to expedite that factor? Like, how whatever awareness that I got in today by attending this workshop, how do you bring into my practice? What do you think?
For that, I like this concept of a Japanese concept called Kaizen,
Right.
which is like the action is so small because we have such entrenched, negative or bad habits that very thought of tackling all of it, because our awareness is much bigger than our ability to take action. It's so much easier to intellectually understand something, but when it comes to putting it into practice, we get overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I have to lose 50 pounds. Oh my God, I have to, get a PhD degree. Oh my God, I have to do this, I have to do that. So the Japanese have this concept called Kaizen, where the change is so small that your conscious mind does not register a resistance to it. For instance, if you want to lose 50 pounds of weight, you want to drink 8 glasses of water, you want to exercise 2 hours, you want to, stop eating all the things you like, everything you feel, I can't do this. It's taking away everything I enjoy. Instead of that, you start with, I'm only going to drink 1 glass of water every day. That's what you commit to. How does your brain say, no, you can't drink one? Nobody will have problem drinking 1 glass of water. Or I'm going to walk like 50 steps today. Somebody who has a problem, I have experienced it myself. I was not able to exercise because of various bodily ailments. And I said, I can't exercise. When we say we can't do something, what we don't understand is our subconscious is saying you won't do it. So taking that small step, the smallest, will in the principle of Kaizen, you will not register a resistance, and before you know it, 1 step leads to 100, and then to 1,000 and 10,000 and whatnot. So once we let ourselves off the hook, don't try to do everything. Start one thing, and everybody knows where they can start.
Right. I think it's pretty much same as like what you practice in Reiki. Like just for today, I'll be living with gratitude. Just for today, I'll not be angry. Just for today, I'll not be worried. Just for today, I'll do something honest and sincerely. So when we bring down the time factor to a very small, just shrink the now to a smaller unit, then you'll not be overwhelmed by the promises or by the commitment that you have to show for doing it all over your life. So that's a good practice. But I think one of the most important thing is like during that time that the craving comes to do something which is unwanted, but you just have that power of craving that it overpowers you to do that. So that small thing that we have to do in order to overcome that feeling of not doing something, that is where exactly the problem happens to people like who get addicted or who do a habitual way of doing something. Having that smaller, that's why even psychologists talk about if you have depression, if you have anxiety, if you have panic attacks, just find out something where you can just distract your mind even for just 2 minutes. So when your 2 minutes distraction of the mind can put that calmness in your mind so that you can take a decision using your intelligence, what is right and what is wrong, and then probably you can take the first step.
You're right. You're absolutely right, because energy or thought cannot be in a state of void. So there has to be either a negative or a limiting habit, or you cannot just say, I will remove my negative habits. The way to remove it is substituting it by a positive thought, which is what you're calling as a distraction. But sometimes even that doesn't work, which in deep cases of addiction, you are almost like you're driven by that addiction. And I have found that what helps is what Jiddu Krishnamurti says, that bringing awareness, even if you can't do yourself, just saying, okay, what is happening? Let me watch what is happening. Where is this thing coming from? And watch it without judging, because guess what? We don't realize it, how harshly we judge ourselves. And it is this very judgment that has driven us to this addiction. So if you can give yourself the permission to say, it's okay, I am addicted and there's nothing wrong about it. It is a state of being that I have let myself be. I can change it, not today. Let me just be aware. What am I doing? Just bringing awareness I have experimented this. I had an addiction for cookies. You can eat, 100 cookies and keep beating yourself up. Oh my God, I have no control. I'm horrible. I'm terrible. I'll never be able to lose weight. Instead of that, I just said, okay, I'm eating a cookie. I've eaten 5 cookies. I've eaten 20 cookies. No judgment. Whether it is good or bad, I should or should not do. That itself relaxes the brain. And next time, instead of eating 20 cookies, you'll eat 18. And a week later, you'll eat 10 cookies. But the critical thing is not judging yourself, not beating yourself up. Oh my God, I'm so bad. I have no willpower. I have no control. I'm stupid. I'm the worst. That doesn't help. So just watching it, I think, makes a big difference.
I think that is more the teaching about mindfulness, because mindfulness talks about just paying attention to what the body wants to do.
Yes.
And do it without being judgmental, without being opinionated, without being reactive to it. Just do that. And but become aware of it, and then see like how your body responds to it. What is it that is bringing you to do that? So that is what people are saying. Even quitting a smoking habit, or quitting alcoholism, or even so for that instance, like they're talking about dealing with the pain that the body is going through. By being mindful about the pain that the body is experiencing, that itself can reduce the pain, or at least by increasing your tolerance and the ability to go through the journey of the experience that the body is going through. And then also yoga talks about like how to come out from body consciousness to the mind consciousness, or to the awareness of the soul or the spirit, or some subtle aspects of our personality. In fact, for this point, I was just thinking about like there is another principle that I have been studying right now about Srima and Aurobindo have been talking about it's a 3 power approach. They call it aspiration, first thing, because you have to aspire for something, just like having an intention, like we said, setting an intention. I want to do that. So building awareness on that, like turning on your GPS system, like you constantly become aware of what is your aspiration. And the second thing they talk about, rejection. Rejection is like you have to take a Sayama approach, like, okay, I'm doing this one, but can I just control, instead of just doing 1 hour, can I just restrict to maybe 30 minutes today? So doing some kind of control in terms of self-discipline, little bit of control, and then try to reject some of the things that is building up negatively, which is not according to your desire or something that you want. And the third thing they talk about is surrender. You have to learn how to surrender to your higher power.
Yeah.
And only the real power comes, and then you don't have the pressure, so that gets released. So I have been practicing this aspiration, rejection, and surrender model, and it is very, very interesting to observe, like how setting an aspiration itself is very powerful. Good. So that's very good. Also, I wanted to talk about a little bit, like when you talk about a lot of this time, the collective unconscious, right? So there is a collective unconscious that you tap into, but I was thinking, like, there is just like collective unconscious, there is also collective subconscious, there is a collective conscious, because we are all getting influenced by the social media, by influencing by the technology, economics, everything is kind of influencing each other to build a collective consciousness, right? So what is that individual practice, or how does that individual practice that we do 20 minutes of meditation or half an hour of meditation every day, then really contribute to the collective consciousness? And do you see there is a kind of changes that happening in the recent, maybe in last 10 years time, because of technology, because of social media? So where is the trend that is happening?
The trend that is happening is, as you being in this business will realize, even in a place like America, in the Silicon Valley, there's this, everybody has realized, with all the wealth, with all the power, with all the gadgets and good things in life, there is still a craving for some kind of peace or some kind of happiness. And you see, I mean, how many yoga studios have come up and how many meditation practices have come up. People are generally moving towards this, and this will happen in an extremely successful society, because when you don't have the money or the power or the wealth, you think that money, power and wealth will give you happiness. But when you have it and realize you still don't have it, because as you know, poor people rarely commit suicide. It's only the rich and the famous, because you realize you have everything and still you're unhappy. So that's why even in Bollywood, I don't know about Bollywood, but definitely Hollywood, there is this movement towards people are adopting very famous people, whether it is Buddhist practices, yogic practices, any other authentic spiritual practices. Everybody is moving towards it. So you can definitely tell there is a general move towards it. The way I think we can influence it, like I said in the beginning, that by ourselves, because I believe in the theory of color. You know, what is the theory of color? When you see something as red, let's say a red apple, What
Right.
happens? All the colors has been absorbed. Out of the 7 colors, only the red is reflected. What you don't accept about yourself, you project onto others. So when we find something that you don't like, somebody is greedy, somebody is angry, somebody is lustful, somebody is out of control, understand that the universe or you are being told that is the quality within yourself that you need to work on. So I'll say, Manoj, you're not doing this. That is, you are a mirror telling me I need to work on this, because that is the quality I have rejected. I projected
Right.
onto the world. And that's why everybody is projecting a certain quality, whether it is greed, whether it is lust, whether it is power hungry. And it has taken on a huge shape, and we call it collective conscious. Unconscious, doesn't matter what name you take, but each of us have contributed to it, and each of us have to take back that responsibility and that power and say, whatever triggers you, every person or situation, whatever triggers you, you stop and you ask, what is this situation or person asking me to bring into awareness? What am I being asked to cultivate? Which quality or emotion am I being asked to cultivate? And slowly, if everybody starts working on certain thing that irritates them, you watch with almost like magically, the collective conscious, unconscious will start reflecting everybody's personal choices.
Right. I think that's so true, because I think at least during the COVID-19, like people say, like, hey, if you can't go out, go within. I think that became a principle of like how people have taken some time of their life to go inward and then try to practice, whether meditations or yoga or pranayama or some kind of reading scriptures, attending to different kind of spiritual discourses. I believe personally also, like, definitely there is a transformation happening to our global consciousness, and technology can play a major role how it can really advance it further, right? So I think this is a very good conversation, having you talking about all these things again. I also wanted to ask you, like, we have been doing a lot of these chakra healing workshops, different kind of awareness, writing, you are creating YouTube videos right now. So what is your other plan to make sure that the wisdom behind, the practicalities behind some of the rituals that we follow as a part of the Hinduism practice or part of Indian mythology, what are the other big things that you're thinking about, like how we can build a massive awareness in this world?
Because that actually my first love, my first passion is decodifying, demystifying Hindu rituals, philosophy and mythology, because I truly believe that it's coded, and there's a huge depth of treasure trove of information. And my next project is actually, I'm trying to understand and go deeper into the Samudra Manthan concept, because when we are talking about mindfulness and awareness, and ultimately in our Puranas, it boils down to that Samudra Manthan, that we have to go within, go into that subconscious of ours, and keep churning to find out that one thing that we have contributed, or not one, many things, but one by one, how we have contributed to this collective mess and problem, and then take back our power. So I think that there are immense wisdom, hidden or coded in this story. And as you know, there are 3 levels. One is just the beautiful story, and then you go inside, you see a little bit of, it talks about meditation and what we can do. And then as you delve deeper, layers and layers of information comes out. So that's what I'm researching on and working on and practicing myself to bring to whatever my understanding will be, to share it with the rest of the world.
I think in a way this forum that you're talking about is also Samudra Manthan, because we are churning each other's mind, and there is a global consciousness that is building up. That's why I've been taking this journey to talk to people, like, just each other, because I believe that everybody is a hero of our own, everybody is a leader of our own. Like, we have got so much of things, the stories that we have built in our life, the path that we have taken uniquely in this life itself tells us a lot of things to this world. Yes. And since these conversations are recorded and then it's in the cloud, somehow or other, like, people will find a inroad to it, and some way, they'll get benefit from these conversations. So I believe the Samudra Manthan has to continue. I think that's a great project. I wish you all the best. And right now it's just getting time. So what will be your last few advices to the youngsters, like, how they should take interest and why they should take interest in our ancient culture and heritage?
Well, if you want to experience or rather get rid of limited thinking and negative thinking, this is a powerful construct that has been given, and it talks our ancient scriptures talks about quantum physics, talks about biology, talks about psychology. So any which way you want, at the body level, we are talking about Ayurveda. At the mind level, we are talking about all these other japa and many other practices. And then we are talking about Vedanta and Upanishads at the quantum physics level. So whatever appeals to you, you can start somewhere, and all roads lead to Rome. So eventually you'll find that the quest will take you to who am I, and take back your power instead of giving your power outside. But you can start from yoga and go inside, you can start from Ayurveda and go inside, you can start from Jyotish and go inside, or you can jump right into the ocean with Vedanta and find it there, depending on where you are and what interests you. But definitely suspend your judgment and try it out without rejecting it. If you're truly scientific bent of mind, don't reject before you do the investigation and see where it leads you.
I mean, that is one of the main criteria that we also talk about. Be curious about finding out. Like, don't just outrightly reject it. Yes. Have some experience of it, then only you can say whether right or wrong, right?
Absolutely.
That's a great thing. So with that, I will I'd like to conclude this conversation. Thank you, Nita, for coming here and then spending some time with our forum.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.